Welcome, everybody. We're here to talk about markets and what might cause collectible markets to go up again. So, I think we all lived through COVID and we saw the collectibles market go crazy. And it was this accelerant for a bunch of trends, whether it was cards, whether it was comic books, whatever. COVID put a bunch of people at home, and it turns out they were all super bored at home. And so they dusted off their old stuff, and collectibles markets just went insane over COVID. Now we can sit here 3 years later and say, well, of course that happened. Of course that this was an accelerant for these market trends. And of course this is a once in a lifetime thing that will never happen again. But Andy and I were chatting before, and we actually think there's lots of things that could lead to another collecting boom.
Sure.
Um, and we create a little list here, but I think the first one on my list is new intellectual property, new IP, whether it's new shows, new movies. In the case of Magic, if Magic ever gets turned into a Netflix series, perhaps that could lead to a bunch of new players of the game. Or if there's a new Pokemon movie coming out, or a new Star Wars trilogy gets launched, these are all things. Or even, frankly, one of the live-action Star Wars shows kind of hits. It isn't bad, like Book of Boba Fett. You can bring people back into these IP because they're like, wow, I really love that show. How can I engage with this IP more? So
Sure.
new IP is definitely a big one. Is there anything kind of missing on the new IP and how that could bring people back to sort of the beloved markets that the beloved things they used to collect?
Yeah, I think it has to be like the right set of IP though, right? Like if you just told me that they were gonna make a new Star Wars trilogy and keep Rey and Finn and Poe and whatever the hell happened in episode 9, I don't even remember, and it was just gonna like take place like 2 days later and continue on, that's probably a hard pass. But like if you were gonna tell me like if you were able to capture the feeling that people had in like 2014, 2015, right before Force Awakens released, and like seeing like the first trailer and teaser for like Force Awakens, like, and you were able to like recreate that type of feeling, but like know that there's like a team behind the movies that actually like believes in it, not like what happened, then yeah, that's probably where you need to be on the IP front. It can't just be like, oh, there's new movies coming out. Like,
Yeah, like I think if the Lord of the Rings Rings of Power had been a little bit better or well received, that could have been something. I'm actually kind of optimistic about the new Rohan. I don't even know what it is, but it sounds kind of interesting. I like Rohan, cool people.
sure,
Uh,
everybody.
it could also just be something as silly as there was a Middle Earth CCG image of Sauron that got turned into an internet meme.
Yeah.
And it could just be something.
Under my orbs.
Yeah, the one, like, it can just be something as silly as that, like something gets kind of memed, which kind of leads us to the next one, which is the right influencers sort of hitting stride and bringing attention, like a game like Flesh and Blood, which has thousands of players but not millions, right? But if Post Malone decided to like stop doing Magic and get into Flesh and Blood, boom, right? And there's going to be a bunch of sort of adjacent properties to that are going to see the rise as well.
Right. If Logan Paul comes out with his chain and instead of having a PSA 10 Charizard, he has, a premier Darth Vader, like that's going to spark a lot of interest in it. Right. I mean, it's never going to happen, but that's kind of the point of this video, right? Like these are things that could occur that would generate a lot more interest in the collecting and like bring in a second wave. Steve Aoki, got huge into like Marvel trading cards and Pokemon and stuff. Like any type of one of these like level, like, imagine like Mr. Beast coming in and like, doing something on his YouTube channel about like, Star Trek CCG, like
Right.
that Facebook group's done. Like there's these like 50 jump in there. So it's just like that kind of stuff. If you get like some top tier like influencer coming in, that'll be huge.
Yeah, I agree. So the next one, and this is more of a macro market trend, like what's going to cause the entire collectibles, ranging from cards to comics to I don't know, Tonka trucks. What's going to sort of cause all of these to go up? It's something like markets similar to crypto or GameStop, AMC phenomenon happening where people just have stupid money, right? Where they just made $12,000 overnight. They're like, oh, let me sell now, and they feel like a genius. They forget they have to pay taxes next year on it, but like at that moment they're flush with cash. And I think we kind of see like Bitcoin, Ethereum, all this crap, stuff going up in value right now. And if it hits 100,000, you're going to see a lot more people with money and looking at something. This is what spawned NFTs, right? Is people just had money, and it was like stupid money. It's like, let me buy a Bored Ape. I need to spend $100,000 on like an ugly JPEG of an ape smoking a cigarette with a small hat on.
I definitely got into many internet arguments with Bored Ape people where I just saved their image and put it as my profile for a little bit. They're like, that's mine. I'm like, yeah, but I saved it. What are you gonna do?
But I think what the Bored Apes and NFTs in general show me is that there is, like, in the blood of the crypto people is the desire to collect things. Like that is innate in all of us, this desire to have something that someone else can't have. So I think that it's in all of our blood, including the next generation of people. And so, if crypto goes absolutely insane again, we might see the collectibles market sort of follow that trend a little bit. So that's the next one on my list here. And then I think that the last one here is sort of tied to this, but if there's sort of a broad bull market where the stock market just goes insane again, and interest rates go down where it's just stupid to keep cash, right? Interest rates are 2.5%. People are looking at alternative assets. I think there was a while there in 2021 where collectibles were thought of as alternative investment vehicles, and I think that's sort of fallen out of favor now as money and capital's become a little tight. But I think that, if interest rates are down again and people are like, what do I do with this money? It's so cheap to get it. Where do I put it, right? Maybe I'll put it in something else.
Yeah, it would have to be a combination of those. Like if you saw like 2.5% interest rates again, and then like combine that with, something equivalent to like, the late 90s .com boom, right? Where it was just like, there was just so much money circulating in the economy with like, and where people don't want to hold the cash. Like you said, they're just going to like look and be like, oh, well, yeah, of course I need a CGC graded Amazing Fantasy 15 to get a first appearance of Spider-Man. And yes, absolutely, I'm going to buy these 1940s Batman comics or, 1952 Mickey Mantle or these, top Star Wars cards or, whatever it is. They're just going to dump, cash back in. So yeah, something like that would have to happen. It'd have to be, again, a perfect kind of confluence of Fed controlling rates with, Wall Street going nuts and lots of investment happening where it's actually getting to people's like hands.
Yeah. So I guess my closing thought here is no one in March of 2020 thought buying a PSA 10 Charizard was a good investment, right? Because everyone was panicking and no one thought collectibles were going to boom over the next 18 months like they did because it seemed like we were all going to die at home, right? Like that was sort of the apocalyptic feeling that was emanating everywhere around the country, around the world. And so similarly, like we're not going to be able to say like, oh, crypto's going up, therefore collectibles will follow. It'll be something once again, we're like, oh, didn't see that coming. It's kind of random. That's weird. Of course, 3 years later, it's easy to sit here and be like an armchair quarterback and say like, oh, of course I saw all the trends.
Of course, summer 2020 was like the greatest time to have owned things that you bought for pennies on the dollar in 2012.
Right, exactly. And so this is just to say, COVID happened. We might be seeing a lot of retracing along the collectible market, but there's nothing future events from having a similar COVID-esque sort of thing. I'm not saying I don't know what it's going to be. I continue to collect because I am a hoarder and have a problem. But I think I just want to push back a little bit where, COVID was a one-off. We'll never see this happen again because history shows we're going to see it happen again because, who knows, it could be the AI glut of all like NVIDIA going up another 200% next year. And it's just like, oh, it turns out there's a bunch, instead of .com boosted. A bunch of dumb AI money that people made, doing various things. So you just never know what's correlated, but we're here to say, just think about it and, just keep buying stuff, right? That's
Exactly.
this is not financial advice. Please don't put stuff on your credit card.
Exactly. Yeah.
Please don't do
Take
it.
financial advice from these two guys here. Right?
Terrible idea. Anyways, that's all the time we have. Any closing thoughts here, Andy?
No, I think you're never going to probably see COVID again. There will be something that happens that will spike these markets in some way. It may not be the games that you're into, right? But it may be other types of collectibles, or it may be things that you're drawn to that you start to see spike, and you just need to be able to pivot and move into those if you're looking to cash in or cash out. So you just have to keep your eye on kind of lots of different things to see how everything's going to unfold in the future.
I'll close this where if you made it 11 minutes in, you get to hear it again. But dumb money always follows collectibles. So just keep that in mind as you watch these markets.
True.
Two dummies right here.
Two dummies.
Anyways, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.